Past 2 weeks, I've been actually out of town. I've been traveling south of China to Shenzhen, to Guangzhou, as well as to Hong Kong. And this trip I did together with some friends visiting from Northern Europe. And I wanted to show them what changed after COVID because most of them have not been to China since before COVID. And they were very shocked about what they learned on social media, but then they wanted to obviously see a lot of things by themselves, right, with their own eyes. So I met up with some of them in Shanghai, and then we flew to China, to Shenzhen. And as you guys know, Shenzhen is part of the Guangdong manufacturing hub. So it is a very tech-savvy city with the self-driving cars as well as delivery as the hype, right? But obviously the more aspect is that there's many factories there, right? Doing everything from like to chemicals to chips and so on. So be actually quite surprised to see that a lot of them were telling me that I've been flying Asia to Japan to US, trying to find that can deliver product, which in this case hardware, reliably and to a good price. But no, it's not possible. So that just reaffirms my idea that maybe the supply chain in China is very hard to replicate. And though the media might be biased in the West, telling people that China has a lot of issues, but in reality, the business people, some of them don't even speak Chinese. And to be honest, I don't know how they manage to navigate it because they don't know how to use the apps to pay for taxi and restaurants and so on, but somehow they manage, right? And that is quite astonishing. So that's one revelation. And the second one that I get feedback from people saying that, oh, it is so safe, right? So whether it's Shanghai or it's Guangzhou or Shenzhen, people say it's very safe, right? They feel safe. There's not violence. And also they say it's very clean. I guess for me, who's been living here for the past decade, I don't even think about that, right? I just take it for granted. Of course, if I go to other countries, I might how things are not as clean, but most of the part, I just assume it works and safety is there. But that's, I think, something me advice, right? That people really appreciate that compared to some other parts of the world. So we went to the factory and with people, and then it hit me that still of the people in China, they don't speak English. I went to robotic salespeople there. Maybe one or two could speak good English, but most of them couldn't, which to me was a little bit surprising. I guess since I live in Shanghai and a lot of my friends there are very I just assumed that the English level would be more right. I could chat in English freely, but in reality, no, that's not the case still. So that aspect, I think there's still to be improved. Obviously, with AI, you can use the ChatGPT. I had some friends; they were like their phones and they like use GPT to translate, which works fine, right? But then if you're having a longer discussion, then obviously it's better to do it in time in their own language, right? That feel is still lacking. Other revelation, I think the Chinese food, yeah, that aspect, I think most people still find it a little bit difficult. Most people who come to China, they want to see the EVs because that is some topic which is always mentioned in the media, or they see on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, people talking about the cool cars in China only available here, right? So brought some of them, car enthusiasts, a group visiting from Germany, brought them to 2 Chinese EV store brands, so actually 3, which I think are very iconic. Like I think everybody should go. Is BYD, and that is the most sold one today, the most sold EV car globally everywhere, and that is a company based in Shenzhen. So that one, I think everybody has to have a look with. That is sort of the mass market, which the Volkswagens of EV cars, affordable maybe priced around 10,000 to 20,000 US, right? So very then I think to the Xiaomi store. So Xiaomi, as you guys know, they started off with making mobile phones, but now they have pivoted to making EV cars. And you have both the SU7, which is the standard, the small car, right? And quite affordable as well. I think it's maybe around like US. And then obviously you also have the U7, which is the combi car, right? Like a bit bigger, more spacious. And they also have the SU7 Ultra, which is the supercar, horsepower with all the Ferraris and Maseratis out there. And that one, I think, is priced around 700,000 RMB, which is a little bit less than 100,000 euro, right? Which is very competitive, 100,000 US. Then the third brand I think everybody should have a look at is the one, right? The Aito or Wenjian in Chinese. That one I think is cool because they've actually positioned themselves high-end in China. So their SUV are selling, imagine Range Rover in that range, and outselling them all, right? Because inside it's very luxurious, yeah, like, and overall very affordable car. And then the brand itself is actually belonging to Huawei, right? But they don't manufacture the cars themselves. They work with other Chinese brands, but they present the car as a package with full tech and cheap but affordable, maybe like I would say 40,000-50,000 US to get a like SUV, which I think is very reasonable. Finally, I would like to talk a little bit more about distribution in China, because regardless if I met with people doing software or if they were manufacturing a specific product, it all comes down to distribution. Like basically, how do you market and sell the products to your customers? And in this regard, I think China has been very much on the direct-to-consumer path. You have basically live streaming that is driving the awareness, and then the platforms that will allow for the transaction to happen during the live stream. So you can basically buy anything, right? And I have friends around me that are buying anything from fruits to meat, small toys to like everything is done through the live streaming. So that route, I think, will be more established outside of China very soon as well. Aspect I think everybody should think about: how do you actually present your products, right? And we went to one of these buildings in Shenzhen where you have a lot of these commerce companies, their teams doing like Instagram posting, but also streaming, and just learning from them. How do you the customers to trust you over the video, and how do you make sure to make the fulfillment? So that is definitely an area I will talk more about in the future, because I've seen so much happening in China. And I think the age of AI, where everybody can spin up a website and get some products from the factory in China, then the distribution will be key. How do you reach out to your customers, and how do you make the speed very short, right? And then for people to convert after they see the content. That I would think is one of the most important aspects going forward. So overall, a very good trip, 2 weeks, a lot of new friends, old friends, and I'm very confident that exchanges about people coming here on the ground to China and then seeing things with their own eyes and also experience it will be very helpful for the future collaboration, right?